Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today I have Professor R. Vaidyanathan to talk about the events that are happening in Europe, in particular in France. But before I hand over the control to Professor R. Vaidyanathan, I request you all to subscribe to our channel and also donate to P Gurus. Kindly also follow our news capsule that comes at 5:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Professor R. Vaidyanathan, Namaskaram and welcome to P Guru's channel.
All to P Guru's viewers, the Dasami wishes.
Thank you, sir.
Most important.
And
Today we will look at some of the developments in Europe. I have always been telling for the last nearly 10 years at least that Europe is getting into tight situation. Of course, different type of events are taking place, and this pandemic has added to the crisis. Basically, what is happening is Europe now the developments are centered around France. The one of the French school teachers, it appears, showed the cartoons of Prophet Muhammad with which was published earlier in one of their magazines, Charlie Hebdo, and then based on that there was violence and a couple of people were killed at that point of time. And now after nearly 4 years, if I recall, the case has been taken up in the court and everything. This school teacher seems to have, history teacher, encouraged his student to have a discussion. And he seemed to have also told those students who follow Islamic faith they can leave the class so that they don't feel upset or whatever it is. And after that, on the road nearer to the school, there was a beheading done of this teacher. With a knife, his head was cut off from his neck actually by a person who was not a student actually, but who asked somebody to identify is this the teacher who showed. Many of you may know under the strict Islamic code, no picture or no representation of Prophet Muhammad is permitted. It is not allowed or anything. It's a very interesting thing because in Hindu tradition, Nama and Rupa are the two core areas of God actually. His name and as well as his form. Name and form are the two important aspects of God. And many a time, many people say his name itself can, provide you more benefits than anything else. Like when the elephant was Gajendra was tried to be swallowed by a crocodile. It seems to have shouted about Narayana, Govinda. And then he was playing dice with his wife. But their dhoti and the sari were tied actually. But he came running immediately and leaving the dice game and also pulling her along with him actually. The name itself is so important. Like we know about the story of Draupadi when she was disrobed. She actually called Govinda and Krishna. He came. So in our context, Nama and Rupa are two critical elements actually of worshipping God. There is also formless God. Some evolved people can think about it and worship, but for common people, it is Nama and Rupa. And any type of Rupa, it can be Hanuman type, it can be Ganesha type, it can even be snake, or it can be other forms of, or it can be in the form of trees actually, because we are very environmental friendly in that sense of the term. But in the Islamic faith, it's considered as not just blasphemy, it is totally unacceptable. Any picturization, even in the original form in Christianity, it used to be, but now they have become much more what to call liberal in terms of they don't mind. For instance, I remember when I was in school, the film on Christ used to always show him in the back only, never in the face of the Christ used to be shown. In those days, they were very strict. But now I think there are filmmakers who can even show the Christ in the front, and it's different. But Islam still is in its purest thing. And this person who killed actually is not a student of the school, and he supposedly coming from Chechnya in Russia. He's one of the and he 8 years before got permission in France to be a resident, and then he is staying there as a refugee. Anyhow, this has created huge amount of consternation among French people. Quite a number of years this is brewing, actually brewing in the sense, for instance, roads are occupied to offer prayers and other thing, which is not very much liked. There used to be a lot of writing about it and other thing. The French left was by and large supportive of the Islamic issues, but slowly the liberal and left are also feeling the pinch there. They are not so much worried about the Islamic issue. They are more worried about Le Pen, who is on the right side, who might totally exploit the situation in order to gain a huge amount of support in the coming in the next election. Be that as it may. Now and there was a huge furor and a huge number of people assembled on the road, and normally middle of the road leader Macron, sober leader relatively, he told that this is Islamic terrorism, and he also told that Islam is in crisis. He doesn't realize that Islam is not in crisis. Islam is making every other faith in crisis. They are creating actually crisis for everywhere. Anyhow, he told that, and then he told he is going to bring in lot of regulations to change the way in which Islam is functioning in France. One of the old churches adjacent in Paris was closed, actually. It used to be visited by some 300, 400 people. It's one of the very old churches. And now this has created a huge amount of uh, what you may loosely call opposition or backlash in Turkey mainly. The Turkey President Erdogan visualizes himself as the new leader of the Islam all over the world, along with, believe me, our friend Imran Khan, who is up to the neck in debt and whose country in FATF is being categorized as in the grey list, and who is known to be a central terror country in the world. He is now also in the. So the Erdogan of Turkey, Turkey is significantly actually Sunni country. It has a Shia population also, not very insignificant, but predominantly it is a Sunni country. So it wants to occupy the central role in the Islamic world. It wants to, whether it will succeed or not is not clear. It wants to replace Saudi Arabia as a leader of the Islamic countries. As of now, it has some support from Malaysia. It has significant amount of support from Pakistan. So Erdogan suggested that the French president requires to be admitted to mental asylum. He told the French president is suffering from Islamophobia. What happened is, whenever you criticize any activities of followers of Islam or any of the actions of them, it is immediately you are categorized as belonging to that club of Islamophobia. You are not liking Islam type of a thing. It's all over the world. It's very common. You are not expected to speak against any of the activity or actions of Islam in any derogatory fashion. So he told that. Then Macron retaliated, and it went on. And a lot of Middle Eastern countries have started to boycott the French goods and other things. They want to remove from their shelves. Not all of them, some of them actually. So Turkey, of course, in Turkey itself, in many of the departmental stores, they are not keeping the French goods. And it is suggested that it is local effort only, not by any governmental. This is normally the situation in many countries. The local fellows will be pressurized. For instance, Shiv Sena, gave a call, and then a lot of these local distributors of this Republic TV network, those what one can call distributors, were told that they are not going to show Republic anymore. And it was told by Shiv Sena, it has got nothing to do with the Maharashtra government. It is the decision of these what one can call the operators. Anyhow, Other than this, in some of the other Middle Eastern countries, they are not happy about Turkey. They want to actually remove all the Turkey goods from their stores and other things. Turkey is predominantly a Sunni country. Pakistan is also a Sunni country. Iran is a Shia country. Interestingly, Azerbaijan is also majorly Shia country. So the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, Turkey has joined Azerbaijan, and there are reports suggesting Turkey troops are fighting in Azerbaijan. And Azerbaijan, Armenia minister is complaining that Pakistan also has sent lot of individuals, their mercenary type of people who are fighting along with Azerbaijan. Huh? Irregulars or they are regulars or itself or irregulars in the case of Pakistan. So there is nothing irregularity about it. So anyhow, that is what Armenia is telling. So it's a big situation is brewing in this whole belt. And Turkey, what they have done is there is one old church, 5th century church. Actually, it used to be one of the pagan temple. They should have converted into India pagan temple. Anyhow, that time it appeared the pagan temple was converted into mosque, and that mosque was converted into a church, because in Europe this is a big issue. You know, Andalusian Empire when Spanish and Byzantine Empire time, and then after that there was a crusade, and many of the churches became mosque became churches. It, you know, and it is very, it's not like other places like India where the mosque were built after destroying temple. There it is very simple. The same mosque will be used as a church. Inside they will arrange all the seats and wooden rows and other thing, and it will become a church. And they will put one pulpit, and then they will have candle lights and all. And when they want to convert, they will remove all the chairs, put mats on the thing, and then it will become a what? And then they will obviously remove the stained glass Jesus, and then it will become a Islamic mosque. So it's not such a complicated thing there. So they converted this again, that mosque into a, sorry, church into a mosque. So that itself created a huge amount of consternation among Europeans, because they thought this is the beginning of some sort of a wild move by the Erdogan. Erdogan is very clear that he wants to establish a caliphate in Europe. And Europe has got huge amount of these small enclaves of Islamic people, which according to him can be exploited in Sweden, in Denmark, in Norway, in Netherlands, in France and Germany, of course. Now, how long the French will be able to carry on this fight is something very interesting. Because now into this, Imran Khan has jumped. He says that this man, what is this, Macron is a Islamophobia, and he is not for peace and tolerance. And who is talking? Imran Khan. According to some demographers, many of these numbers are not very reliable. Official number in UK is some 8% or something, but they say it can be as high as 15%. There are some towns in UK which are predominantly becoming Islamic. And another thing which is shown is out of 10 newborn babies, 6 of them are named with the surname Muhammad. This is something very, very interesting. So what is going to happen after 30 years is some cause for concern. Same thing in France. Officially, France has got some 5.5 millions only out of a population. It will not be more than 8%. But many people say it could be as high as 20%. Because when they count, they are, many places are no-go areas. They are not able to get in another thing. Second is, there is always a issue of these illegal migrants. Quite a number of illegal migrants are there, which are not what are called undocumented aliens or irregulars, what you call. So that number is also there. Belgium, their number is very, very large. And actually, near Brussels, they are going to have a majority within soon in the coming poll, and then canton polls or local panchayat type of poll. And they are telling after that they are going to introduce Sharia there. So many of these small enclaves, when they win polls in the local level assemblies, they introduce Sharia in the local levels. So that is going to create another type of Overall, in Europe, they claim that it is around 6 to 8% only, but large number of what one can demographers are not agreeing to this. Of course, Hungary has by and large avoided allowing any Islamic people. Poland also, Austria similar way. So these are some of the countries which you may loosely call as not having significant amount of Islamic population. Yes.
Sir, do these people also have the practice of polygamy? For example, marrying up to four wives?
Yeah, some countries don't allow polygamy. Some of the countries do permit them, and by and large, in Europe, that's not such a common practice in terms of because of economic conditions and various other. It's not such a practice, but very interestingly, significant amount of violence is indulged in by educated people belonging to the Islamic faith. Even though everybody talks about madrasas and they are the thing and they go on chanting Quran and other. If you look at from 9/11 tower which is attacked, quite a number of them are engineers actually. Two of them are civil engineers. And similarly in Europe also, quite a number of these attacks have been done by people who are highly educated. So there is another very interesting thing that the standard explanation, the more education people will become, different another thing need not necessarily be true. You can, for instance, in state in Kerala, there is it's one of the I think you will know the highest literate in the whole country. There are some places which is 100% literate in Kerala, and the Malappuram district, which is very highly educated. But in terms of demography, if you look at it, the reproductive rate is significantly higher than that of the whole Kerala. So it's not the traditional theory is as people get more educated, they become less diluted in terms of their staunch, religious adherence, in terms of exhibiting their violence, in terms of having less number of children. Need not necessarily be true. It all, sometimes what one can loosely call culture can override demography. Culture can override the sincerity to which you belong to a particular religion. So this is something which, for instance, very highly educated Pentecostals in US, some of them they don't go to doctors at all because they believe that no need to go for doctors. You can have what to call the towel inside a hot water and then tie it to your temple, and then temple I don't mean the religious temple, I mean your forehead, and then it will get cured. There are not everybody, but some groups and others. So there is a does demography trumps many of these issues in terms of education or in terms of illiteracy or anything. So overall, the percentage may be lesser, but the sincerity and the enthusiasm and the fanaticism is not any less. The only country which has not yet openly faced this is Germany. Only is eagerly waiting because French are not known to fight very hard. French, they would love others to fight for them. So during Second World War, quietly they had a government actually, Vichy government, which was doing very well actually for a long period of time, supporting the Hitler cause. They have all throughout history, if you see, French are not great fighters. French are enthusiastic about others fighting for them. Like the British commander told, we will fight the German to the last Indian. So that type of a thing. But the Austrians and Germans are to be watched. They are the ones who are not going to take it lightly. But as of now, all reports coming out of Germany suggest that they are very complacent. They feel, nothing is going to happen. For instance, in the tube rail, a lot of reports suggest in the tube rail, so many amount of abusive talks are being made by some of the ardent Islamists. But other people in the tube rail, it appears, just close their eye or turn away, and then similarly inside, the college campuses or any of these places. And one has to wait and see how what. But one thing is, the situation is brewing in which it's not going to be very easy because AFD is also getting very popular in Germany. The other, the right-wing party, Le Pen party, National Front is getting very popular in France. I won't be surprised if they actually get to power in the next time. And England, of course, there are traditional type of right-wing parties. More important is the Conservatives themselves are slowly converting into right-wing, but England is in a much deeper pit compared to any other country because they have, allowed this no-go areas in most places. So many of the places in UK, the cops are not able to get in, and that's a so there is a what you may loosely call the adherents of Sharia, the adherents of all these fundamental Islam, and versus the modernist or what you may loosely call the reformers in Europe. There is a big tussle going on, and according to me, it's not going to end very easily, and unfortunately, it is also not going to end very smoothly. And with somebody like Imran Khan jumping into it, I cannot. Imran Khan has the audacity to talk about France and Macron and other, when his own economy is in such deep pits with inflation, with illicit financing, with maybe he is using it as a what one can call diversionary tactics or something. The new alliance is interesting. One has to watch that. The alliance of Turkey, Pakistan, Malaysia, and some of the small kingdoms in Middle East. How it is going to evolve, what shape it is going to take, how it is going to react to Europe is, and Erdogan's all-encompassing desire to be a caliphate of Europe, how it is going to be sustained. So this is something for the next maybe 1 or 2 years will be very interesting to watch.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor RV. If you remember some of the articles of Professor R. Vaidyanathan on P Gurus, he started referring to Europe as Eurobia. And I think you are beginning to see the effects of all this. So Professor RV is very prescient man. He spends his time going to churches and cathedrals in Europe. He has made several observations. Those of you who want to know in more detail can go back and look at his videos. The reason I'm saying all this is there are some of us who are blessed with foresight, who can see the trend and spot the trend. And that is what it is here. Many European politicians were perhaps forcibly blind or looking at vote bank politics. I don't know what it is, because it is going to be very difficult to expel all the people that are considered non-French or something like that, because they've been there for 20 years. Some of them are 20, 25 years, and they all have voting rights. In fact, I think Britain, you don't have to be a citizen to get voting rights. You might have voting rights. There's some interesting rules. So not all countries, but Britain, definitely there's a problem. I don't know if the current government is going to change that and make it impossible for anyone without citizenship to vote. I think that's high time that is needed. Let's see how it goes. Thank you very much, Professor RV. And viewers, do not forget to subscribe. Thank you.